Hey, book and beer fans, welcome back to another episode. I don't know if you know this or not, but I really don't have a script for this. I just bring out a beer and a book. My daughter's boyfriend, Brian, he's a beer guy. I'm a beer guy. He brings me beers. I give him beers. And he brought something called Collective Arts Fest. And this is it's a pineapple vanilla IPA. So I have my IPA shirt on here. I'm just doing a split with my cameraman over here. Camera woman.
Camera person.
Camera person. I thought you were off camera.
I am.
Oh, you are off camera. You're just not off mic. Don't tease me about my hair. It's my midlife crisis hair. My daughter's putting it into a man bun today. Kind of got a little whack. All right, what I like about this beer, if you don't like IPAs, and I know there are people out there who don't, I totally understand that. This is not bitter. There's lactose, so there's a little creamy flavor to it, and it goes down really smooth. Nice aroma. Sometimes you have a beer like this and you just want to go out and get a bunch, but it's like, sometimes it's like, Wisconsin, if you love history, you love American literature. I just finished about 2 weeks ago a biography on Herman Melville, the great writer of Moby Dick. I know there are huge fans of Moby Dick, like myself, Herman Melville, and those that are like, what, Moby Dick? That's boring. I don't want to read it, or I had to read it and I hated it. Okay, so my wife and I, we go on trips and we go to beer places up in Maine and throughout Massachusetts, all over the country. And I also like stopping at historical places and literary places. So we were in the Berkshires, and Arrowhead was right there. Right. So when I read this kind of stuff, it goes into my lectures, and I help students understand American Lit, 19th century. So Herman Melville, Nathaniel Hawthorne, talk about a bromance. There's tons of romances out there. Hemingway, Fitzgerald, are they frenemies? Competitive. But in fact, this is an interesting story. It's interesting to me. When I first started reading this, and I saw the author, and I saw that it had really good reviews, and I'm reading this. I'm like, wait a second. I've heard this guy before. It was the voice, and it was something distinctive about his voice, the wit, the clarity, the erudition. I don't know what it was, but then I saw the name. I'm like, wait a second, Andrew Delbanco? And then I went to Ivory Tower, the CNN documentary about college and college costs and college debt. And he was one of the first ones from Columbia to be interviewed saying, college is going to look a lot different in the future than it does now. And I was like, wow, the voice. So when I realized that, it was just like, that's the magic of writing, right? It's the personality. The personality comes through, whether it's in writing or you're speaking to the camera. And what Delbanco does, and he does a great job of showing the life of Melville, going in depth with a lot of his writing that I was not familiar with. I know the big ones, but the smaller pieces and the pieces that, like Billy Budd is one that I knew about, but now I'm like, after reading his analysis of it, it wasn't published until 30 years after Melville died. I'm like, no, that is something I need to go back to. I need to read Billy Budd. Geniuses like Melville, who was ahead of his time, writing for an audience that did not exist yet. And sometimes writers do that. They're like, who's your audience? They don't exist yet, but they will. Great Gatsby is one. There's so many books like that, right? Van Gogh is a painter who was painting for an audience that did not exist yet. So grab a beer, pick up a book. I gotta ask Brian where he got this. You know what? I'm gonna go on Untapped, because this is smooth. This is nice.